Good morning and welcome into the Lifeline Morning Show. I'm Steven. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. You know, I love getting your day started off on the right foot. And to help with that, I use an inspiring quote. Today's is so good. The pine stays green in winter. Wisdom in hardship. Wow. You know, that's so true. You look at the trees around, when the sun comes up, look at the trees around you and see how many of them are just bare, their limbs showing, right? No leaves there. But those pine trees, they still got needles on them. They're still even green. There's just something about them that allows them to stick it out through the cold months. They know how to handle the situation. And I think maybe we could gain a little bit of insight from just the trees, how they're able to stand through even the toughest of times. Ooh, you're able to do that too. You know, I found this scripture that lines up so well with this inspiring quote. It's from Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 and 8. It says, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit." So there you have it. Two extremes. The pine tree in the winter months, and then the other trees through the heat and the drought of summer. Regardless of the situation around you, you have it within you to stick it out through the toughest of times because you're not alone. You have become wiser because of the power on the inside of you, the Holy Spirit leading you, guiding you into all truth. And as you know that you're not alone, you're able to withstand just a little stronger, a little better. You know, hey, this is not going to take me out because I've got a promise from God. And then you're able to stand through those tests. So remember that today. And maybe you need to encourage somebody like I just encouraged you. Maybe they need to hear this too. So share it with them, okay? All right. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. You know I got some really good Christmas music to pass along to you, right? This first one here is from For King and Country and Joy to the World. And by the way, I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for the new songs coming from our artists. And I'll be playing more and more of those, even this morning, getting a few new ones in. So I'll give you a little heads up when I'm about to play them. Your word of life today comes to you from 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. Instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life. And if someone asks you about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it. That's good stuff, isn't it? And hey, it doesn't have to be some long, elaborate, drawn-out thing. In fact, it's your testimony. I've got a little something to share with you about your testimony coming up next right here on the show. So stick around. I think you're going to love it. It might just encourage you to tell your story to somebody else.
Have you read your Bible yet today? Even if you have, it can't hurt to do it again. Revelations 12:11 says, "We overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony." Did you catch what that just said? The Bible literally just told you how to defeat the devil. With the blood of the Lamb, that's what Jesus did. And by the word of your testimony. That's your story of how God changed your life. Could it be any easier than that? You see, I've said it a million times, but your story is the most powerful thing you have. People may be able to argue the Bible with you, but they can't argue your story, because that's yours. I had a little old lady come up to me after church one time from giving my testimony, and she said, "Young man, I don't like your testimony." I told her, "I don't either, but what do you want me to give you, a test-a-phony?" It is what it is. And let me tell you something today. For 30 years, I looked for fulfillment in everything that the world had to offer. And I was always left empty every single day. But when God poured his fulfillment into my life, it has never run out. So let me encourage you today. God has a plan and a purpose for you today. So open up your heart to him and watch what he can do. So think about that for a minute.
The most tragic part about trauma, it robs us of our try. We experience that trauma and we don't want to try that thing again. I'm not going to drive again. I had an accident. I'm not going to love again. I got hurt before. I'm not going to ask that person because they're going to say no. I'm not going to try again. Don't let that trauma rob you of your try. Keep trying. A lot of us get stuck because we don't want to try again. Happy Wednesday. Try again.
The basketball season is well underway across the country. I don't know if you've been watching any college or NBA games, but I know we've got a lot of local student athletes who love to play, and they're doing very well this far into the season. We're just getting warmed up, though. But I've got a little story for you coming up here on the show I think is really going to excite you. And now it kind of centers around basketball. We're going to be telling the story of how Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, the really big guy, how he got successful in the NBA. Actually, it takes him all the way back to when he was 13. He's going to tell the story of how he just would not give up. And I think it might just encourage some student athletes listening to us, and it'll encourage us parents as well. But I want to focus on you, student athletes, and you kids as you're getting ready to go into the school. Plus, let me remind you, I've got a car line competition coming up, and we're starting off with 12 gift cards. We got a really long train that's going to be coming through. So I hope you're ready to win some gift cards. Stick around. We'll get into all of it next.
Crack, and there it is, the fear of failure looming like a monstrous shadow. But did you know it's more phantom than reality? Let's illuminate the path to overcoming it. First off, remember, failure isn't final, it's feedback. It's a guide, a stepping stone. It tells you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. Second, embrace the idea of failing forward. Every stumble, every fall is a leap towards success. You're learning, you're growing. Third, understand that failure is a part of life. Even the greatest athletes have missed shots, lost matches. What sets them apart? They rise, dust off, and go again. So fear not failure, friends. Welcome it, grow with it, and watch the magic unfold. Remember, the only true failure is not trying. Overcome your fear, embrace failure, and let your success story begin.
We learn from those failures, and I just wanted to encourage you today that, yeah, you're going to fail. We all do it, but it's really hard sometimes to get over it. Let me bring a story to your attention real quick. You know Shaquille O'Neal, that guy who played in the NBA, and now he does a lot of talking on the TV about basketball? Yeah, he became, highly successful in the NBA. But it all started back when he was a kid. And you know what? He was very discouraged to even play basketball because he kept getting told he was no good by not kids, but adults who continuously told him, man, you're no good. And so he could have just hung it up. He could have tried something else, but he decided to stick it out. And you know what? The rest is history. But I want you to hear his story. So take a listen to this.
Instead of playing with the kids, I used to play with the men because I was their size. And they always used to say, you're terrible. You stink. You're never getting drafted. You're 13, you're 6'8", you can't dunk. Sit on the side. And at this time, we're in Germany. So I go to the gym every day in the snow. I'm walking in the snow. I'm going there every day. And I'll just be sitting on the sideline, and guys will come in, and I can see guys say, don't pick him. He's terrible. But every now and then, like after guys run 50 games, I'll get in, and I'll still play terrible, but they say, don't pick him. He ain't nothing. Don't ever pick him. And then one day, my father comes in. He runs in. It's a college coach. I don't know who he is. Dale Brown, LSU. He's going to be up there talking. And, my father was big on scholarships because he wouldn't be able to afford to pay for any of us to go to school. He would just go. Maybe he'll see you. Maybe get a scholarship. Like, I don't want to go. Let's go. I go up to him and I was like, sir, can you help me out on strengthening my lower extremities?
That's what he said.
And he looked. Yeah, how long you been in the Army, soldier? I said, I'm not in the Army, I'm 13. What? He says, I'm only 13. So he kind of grabs me like it's a secret. Where's your father? It's like he's in the sauna. So he busts in the sauna and they talk to my father. And after that, never saw him again, but he wrote me every week. Every week. I used to write him back like, hey man, I did everything you said. I tried out for the team. They still said I'm a bum. I didn't make it. I want to give up. And he'd never give up. And he sent me speeches by Dr. Martin Luther King. So then, by following his advice, I'm starting to come around now. So by the time I get to San Antonio, my junior year, I'm a monster. Everybody in the country wants me now. And now I see the light.
What do you think about that? If he would have listened to all of the criticism, he would have just given it up. He would have never pursued basketball, but he decided to keep going. And through that tenacity, he became so successful. And you've seen him on TV recently, right? Even at Papa John's. He gets all kinds of endorsement deals. The Shakaroni pizza. So all I'm wanting to do is encourage you today. Don't let criticism, don't let negative feedback get you riled and make you give up, because you've got to keep pushing through. It's something you learn as you get older, but it is never easy to do. I just wanted to remind you of it. Now, it's time for a little something here. What are we about to do again? Oh, yeah. Say it with me in 3, 2, 1. Give me the horn. All right. Now, let's go ahead and crank that engine. And now let's start the music. So I can say, hey, everybody, it's time to play the Carline competition. It's your chance to win some gift cards. Oh, my goodness. And I got them to the Caring Heart Thrift Store in Arab, and I've got some to the Albertville Home Bakery. You want to win some? Well, this morning, I am so glad to say that we're not starting off with 3 gift cards. Oh, no. We actually have a pretty long train passing through. 12 gift cards to start it off. So are you ready to play my game? Let's find out. Here's the first question of today's Carline competition. Kaiser Wilhelm II was the last emperor of which country? Was it Scotland, Russia, France, or Germany? 256-505-0885. Taking you back to the history books. Kaiser Wilhelm II was the last emperor of which country? Was it Scotland, Russia, France, or Germany? And that whole term Kaiser probably gave it away. And there's my caller. Stay on the phone line with me while I start this next song, and I'll get you an answer. Here's Cochran and Company with This Christmas. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. What's your name?
Adeline.
Adeline. All right, Adeline. What are you up to today?
I'm just driving. My dad's just driving me to school.
I love how you corrected yourself, because you knew I was about to ask you, are you the one driving? No. What grade are you in?
I'm in 6th.
6th grade. All right. So I know you're probably happy that this whole Christmas break thing is coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When's your last day?
I think Thursday.
Awesome. All right. Y'all having a Christmas party?
Yeah, at my school we are.
Okay. Very cool. Well, I hope you have fun at the party, but I want to have fun right now. So let's see if you know the answer to my question. Now, this is taking you back to history class. Kaiser Wilhelm II was the last emperor of which country? Was it Scotland, Russia, France, or Germany?
Germany?
Germany is correct. Congratulations to you. So stinking smart. How did you know that answer?
Well, to be honest, my dad looked it up.
Okay, cool. Hey, there's no shame in that at all. You got it right. And you know what? You didn't just win 3 or 6 or 9 gift cards. You just won 12. What do you think about that?
I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of love you can share with a lot of people. And here is my favorite part. I want to ask you about 2 very special people in your life. Who are they and what do they mean to you?
Probably my mom and my dad.
Okay. All right. So what's your mom's name?
Jessica.
What do you love about that mom?
I love that she protects me and helps me out.
Awesome. Now, how about that dad? What's his name?
Bobby.
Bobby. What do you love about that dad of yours?
He also helps me out, and he helps me believe in myself.
Believe in yourself?
Yep.
I got it. That is awesome. That's good stuff. That's a lot of love being shared on the radio. All right, Adeline, I hope you have an amazing day at school, and I'll get these gift cards sent your way, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hey, one last question, if you have a second. What are you wanting for Christmas? Like, what's your big item you're hoping to really get this Christmas?
I kind of want some Nike shoes.
Nike shoes? Oh, it reminds me of a song. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, buckle some more. 5, 6, Nike kicks.
Yeah.
Have you heard that song?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope you get those Nikes. Have a great day, okay?
Okay, you too.
All right, bye. So much fun. Adeline Gonzalez, I hope you have an amazing day. And guess what? I've got another chance right here for somebody to win some gift cards. 3 gift cards up for grabs. That's 1 to the Caring Heart Thrift Store in Arab and 2 to Albertville Home Bakery. Yeah, for a couple cupcakes or cookies. Your choice. So here we go. Here's the question. Where was the first permanent British colony in America? Was it in Virginia, Alabama, the Carolinas, or Massachusetts? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. And I've actually been to this place. It's a pretty cool place. All right, so the first permanent British colony in America, was it Virginia, Alabama, the Carolinas, or Massachusetts? 256-505-0885. I've already got my caller. What? Yeah, y'all are quick. So let me hit this song, and I'll get this call, and I'll come back, and we'll see if you can win some gift cards, too. Here's Big Daddy Weave with Ring the Bells. All right, let's keep this thing going. I just had a question, and I just got an answer. Let me just remind you what the question was. Where was the first permanent British colony in America? Was it Virginia, Alabama, the Carolinas, or Massachusetts? And here is that call. Take a listen to this. I think you're going to be quite excited of the outcome. 88.5 JFM, good morning.
Virginia!
Virginia is correct, Bud Williams. Yes, sir.
Train rolling again. How about that?
All right, we'll get it going, man. Okay. 6 gift cards up for grabs for the next person. Thanks for calling me, man. Talk with you soon. So much fun. Yep, sometimes he'll just call in and roll them over, so that means that, yeah, that train is building back up steam again. Not 3 gift cards now, but we got 6 gift cards coming through. Are you going to cash out on them? I sure hope so. We're about to find out. Now, so far this morning, we've been talking about history, but I'm about to take you to chemistry class, to the science lab. Have I said too much? What invention did Robert Bunsen improve? Was it the clothes dryer, the gas-powered car, the pizza oven, or the laboratory burner? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. Again, what invention did Robert Bunsen improve? Was it a clothes dryer, a gas-powered car, a pizza oven, or a laboratory burner? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. Again, his last name is Bunsen. What does it go with? Dryer, car, oven, or Bunsen burner? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. 6 gift cards up for grabs. I hope to hear from you very, very soon. Here's a little something you might not know about me. I was part of NVTHS. Do you know what that stands for? National Vocational Technical Honor Society. I went to vocational school for computer electronics. Yeah, when I was in high school. So the tech school, the vocational school, the career center, whatever you want to call it, I was a part of it. And I learned a lot in there, by the way. A lot about computers. You can learn all kinds of stuff at school. But this particular thing was really inspired, and it was improved upon by a man whose last name is Bunsen. His name was Robert Bunsen, and he improved one of these things. Either a clothes dryer, a gas-powered car, a pizza oven, or a laboratory burner. So I've already asked the question, so you know what that means. I haven't gotten a caller yet, so I'm going to take 2 of these off the table. I'm going to take clothes dryer off and gas-powered car off the table. So, what invention did Robert Bunsen improve? Was it the pizza oven or the laboratory burner? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. There's my caller. Stay right there while I start this song and I'll get your answer. Mercy me, oh holy night. All right, well, I just had a question. This car line competition thing we've been doing, and we had a train rolling through with 6 gift cards, and I got an answer. But this one took a little twist, a little turn. And I love the way it happened. Here, take a listen. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
It's going good.
You sound so chipper, so energetic, so bubbly this morning. Are you happy?
Yeah, I've been listening to you on the radio.
Oh, wow. Thank you. All right, so remind us all. What's your name?
Trisha Wilson.
Trisha Wilson, with the voice of an angel. Oh. Did you hear Cassie shout you out yesterday?
I did.
Was
I want to thank her for that.
I thought that was so cool. Awesome. All right, well, here we go. Got a question. What invention did Robert Bunsen improve? Was it the pizza oven or the laboratory burner?
The laboratory burner.
Of course, because it's called a burner.
Bunsen burner, yeah.
Now, tell me your most memorable memory from the science lab. Did you ever dissect anything, Trish?
Oh, I did. Let's see. So, a pig,
Yeah.
a cat, frog, quite a few earthworms.
Slicing them open, seeing how they work. It's kind of gross,
Yeah.
but kind of cool at the same time, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, you just won some gift cards, 6 gift cards to be exact. So what do you think about that?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I like it too. This is the part I really love because I'm going to ask you. Tell me about 2 very special people in your life that mean a lot to you.
Special people. Well, I want to shout out Gail Buchanan
All right.
because I worked with her when I was younger in school, and she was a very big mentor in my life.
Nice.
And then Christine Broadus,
Aw.
because she was my pastor's wife years ago and also a good mentor in my life.
Wow. Some amazing people, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Thank you so much for sharing the love here on the radio. All right, I'm going to get these 6 gift cards sent your way.
Okay, so I don't want the gift cards. I
Oh.
have something unique that I want you to do with them.
Okay, what you got?
So I now work in healthcare, and I want to give these gift cards to someone who is a nurse.
Wow.
So if you have anybody that listens to the radio and they are a nurse, if they would like to call in, I want you to give those gift cards to them.
Perfect. That's a great idea. Yeah, I can totally do that. Trish, that's awesome. Thank you so much for calling me today.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, so if you are a nurse, I want to hear from you. 256-505-0885. Call me up. We want to share some love with you. 256-505-0885. Waiting on your call right now. So the car line competition, that last question, we had 6 gift cards to give away. And Trish won them and said she wanted to pass them along to a nurse. So I put the call out there. Hey, if you're a nurse, call me up. You can claim these. But I understand sometimes you don't want to just call and claim. So we're going to change it up a little bit more, okay? If you know a nurse who could use a little extra love, maybe a few gift cards, why don't you call me up? Tell me all about them. Share some love with them here on the radio, and you can give them the gift cards. 256-505-0885. If you know a nurse who would love to have some gift cards, who does an amazing job doing what they do, call me up right now. 256-505-0885. Tell me about them, and we're going to share some love with them right here on the radio. 256-505-0885. 88.5 JFM. Good morning.
Good morning, friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Evelyn?
I'm pretty good.
Very
Pretty
good. So, do you happen to know a nurse who could use some gift cards?
I do. I actually know several, and it's so hard to pick. So I want to shout out. One, but because our church did something nice for her, I think I'm going to choose the other one.
Okay.
So the first one, her name is little Allison Davidson, and I met her when our church did an outreach, and we did a Thanksgiving dinner. Our small group did for all the emergency department personnel.
Yeah.
But then we made the joke, we love to meet each other, but we hope we don't meet there, right? Well, then, lo and behold, Emery comes home, and we end up in the ER with her the day before Thanksgiving. So she's precious. Allison Davidson, she's amazing. Young moms, wife, little kids,
Yeah.
and I'm just falling in love. I call her Angelic Allison because she was an angel on earth for us with Emery.
Wow.
So that's that one. And then I have a dear friend that's my band buddy, I call her, and she's amazing. And she just, I forget how far she's gone, like boards. Like she could be she's at the point where she could be on her own nurse practitioner. That's how far up she's gone.
Wow.
And she has some boys. So I've seen her be the amazing parent to these children, a great friend, and I haven't seen her nursing, but I've seen how hard she's worked to get all these things, like these degrees. I mean, she's just she's so smart and so such a good work ethic. And she had a crazy thing this week where she got a scratch on her eye and was in a lot of pain and all this stuff. So anyway, her name is Rebecca Harrison, and I think she needs those gift cards. Anyway,
Awesome.
My long-winded me, both those ladies are great.
Awesome. Rebecca Harrison Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing the love this morning, Evelyn. That's awesome. So I'm gonna mail these to you, and then you can give them to her, okay?
Perfect. You have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Sharing some love. So it all worked out. A big thank you to everybody who played today's car line competition. And guess what? We'll do it again tomorrow, starting at 7 o'clock. Have some more gift cards up for grabs, some more questions, and share some more love here on the radio. Now, we've got like 2 hours and 7 minutes of show left. Coming up, I want to talk with you a little bit about poetry. I came across this poem that I think is beautiful, and I want to share it with you. So stick around for that. I remember a show that used to come on when I was a kid. It talked about champagne kisses and caviar dreams. Do you remember Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? I could never pull off a good Robin Leach impression, or I would have tried. But anyway, have you ever thought about what it would be like to be rich? Yeah, but first, I think maybe we need to define that word. What does rich really mean anyway? Does it just mean money, or does it mean more than that? Actually, it means a lot more than just money, and Celia gets it. In fact, she wrote a little poem about wanting to be rich in all the right ways, and I want you to hear it. So take a listen to this.
I want to be rich, and no, I don't mean just to spend money. I mean the kind of rich that feels like sunshine, tastes like honey, sweet, brilliant. I want to be rich in the way I think. I want to pay off my insecurities, bribe them to love until they shrink. I want to be rich in thoughtfulness and care, put aside money to convince life it doesn't always have to be unfair. Abundant, beautiful, I want to be rich in the way I speak. I want to take the time to compliment someone every day of the week. I want to be rich in the kind of friends that I make. Share with them a kind of love that toxicity could never take. Patient, unconditional. I want to be rich in generosity. Teach my future kids that life shouldn't have to be lived at high velocity. I want to be rich in dinners and time, living in a body that I appreciate just because it's mine. Stunning, warm, I want to be rich in the way I write, divest in what doesn't matter and start budgeting for what might. On what does. I want to be rich enough to go, travel to new places, find people I was always meant to know. I want to be rich in happiness with the man that I marry, rich in the faith that I'll be a good mother to the children that I hope to one day carry. Understanding, empathetic. I want to be rich for more than just what people think of me. Welcoming, loving. I want to be rich in the space needed to become whoever I want to be.
What an inspiration. Wow, all the ways to be rich. So it was last week sometime, we decided to eat out for dinner, and I just go and pick it up, bring it back to the house. So I'd stop by Panda 3 there in Arab, where we live, and went in there, got the food, came back outside, and as I was walking to my truck, I noticed this postal worker who was emptying the box, the post office box, right there on the sidewalk in front of the restaurant. And it was dark outside. We're talking about, I forget exactly how late it was, but she shouldn't have still been out like that. I looked at her, I said, "They got you working long hours, huh?" She said, "Oh yeah, this time of the year." I said, "Well, I hate that. I hope they're paying you well." She said, "Oh, they are." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's good. How much do you think these postal workers are making?" Now let's take it up a notch. How much do you think that these other delivery drivers are making? Ooh, I don't think you're ready for this. I'm about to reveal to you a weekly paycheck from a UPS driver during this time of the year. Stick around and go ahead and prepare your jaw. It's going to drop and hit the floor. So we'll get into it next, right after Maverick City Music. And Mary, did you know? So when you're a kid, you think, hey, I want to be something big and important when I grow up. I want to make a lot of money. So the question is, what do you want to be? And lots of times, I mean, a doctor, maybe a lawyer comes out there. That's what mom and dad hope for, right? It's like, I want them to be super successful. But really, when it comes down to it, I know this now because I'm a parent. I just want my kid to be happy, whatever she decides to do. But there are some professions out there in which you make some pretty good money. Yeah, of course, doctors are right up there, lawyers, of course. But I never thought that these particular people made this much money. And I don't think you will quite grasp how much UPS drivers make. I mean, this time of the year, they're all over the place. Don't get me wrong. I know they're busy because all these things being bought online, they have to be delivered. And so they're working long hours. With those long hours comes a lot of overtime. With that overtime, woohoo, they can make some bank. Now, I know that the more you make, the more tax is taken out. So it's kind of a catch-22, but still, I think it's pretty interesting. Skylar decided to go ahead and post his paycheck up on TikTok, and it's got a lot of people talking. All right, you ready? You got a little cushion underneath that jaw, underneath your chin, so when it hits the floor, it doesn't hurt too bad? All right, here we go. UPS driver paycheck, and hit it.
Let's take a look at a UPS driver's pay stub. Now, before we begin, you will see here that I am talking to you on a 30-minute unpaid lunch. There's a couple things I want to know. One, union members with UPS are paid weekly, so these numbers are going to reflect a weekly paycheck. The second thing I want to talk about with this pay stub is I don't want to mention it in any ill-mannered way. I simply love when I come across content creators who share their pay stubs of their different working field and their transparency of how their wages are broken down. Jumping right into it, I did cross out some information, but you can see my name right there across the top. You can see that this is for 1 week, and we have a total earnings of $2,004.98, taxes of $487.49, total deductions of $204.25, with a net take home for the week of $1,313.24. Now, of course, I'm not just going to show you the big numbers, I'm going to show you the breakdown. So let's take a look at the hourly breakdown of how those numbers come to be. Here's an individual breakdown of those hours. There at the top, you can see our current pay rate of $44.26 per hour. And as you go down the list, you can see our regular, overtime, as well as production bonus. As you get down to the bottom, you see total hours worked of 42.76 hours. If you go a little bit further, you can see the year-to-date totals of 1,735 hours for a total of $76,243 for the year. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it.
What? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you at all. That's an actual paycheck, the pay stub. He just went through it. You couldn't see it, I know, but I'm looking at it. Everything checks out. That's a lot of money. So if your little one wants to be a UPS driver when they grow up, let them. It'll be good. But no, seriously, these people, they really do a lot. They're out there and they put themselves out in traffic. There can be long days, cold days during this time of year. But I do want to make mention of one thing. Looking at this pay stub, I see that it is from 9/22/23. So not even here at this time of the year when they're really busy. So here's to all you UPS workers. Thank you so much for what you do. You deserve to be paid well, and I'm so glad that you are. I see you listening to us all the way up there in Ohio. Thank you for making us part of your day. Also, Nikki hanging out with us in Owensboro, Kentucky. We've got some listeners over in Reno County, Kansas. Joel Modis is hanging out with us down in Palm Coast, Florida. We've got some people right here in North Alabama and Arab and Gunnersville on the stream. And, of course, our friends over in Helsinki, Finland. We can't forget them. Hey, coming up here on the show, I want to talk a little bit about things that are done just a little bit differently here in the U.S. than they are, say, in Helsinki, Finland, for example. Did you know in some areas of the world it's completely fine to leave your baby outside in freezing temperatures? In fact, it's something that they practice. Why? You know, in some places, they don't believe in swaddling your baby because it could improve, it could be detrimental to your child in ways that we don't really think about here. It's strange, right? So stick around. We'll get into some of these differences. Jesus, a baby in swaddling clothes lying in a manger. That's part of the Christmas story, right? And I've got to tell you, I think one of the cutest things you will ever see in your entire life is your child, freshly born, say maybe a week or two old, as they're just coming up from a nap and they get that swaddle undone and they stretch and they yawn. There's just something about it that gets me. I love that. But you know, that's one of the practices here in the U.S. that we don't really think twice about. Swaddling your baby. I mean, it makes them feel more comfortable, right? That's what studies show. I mean, isn't it? Makes them feel more warm and cozy. They look like they're comfortable anyway. Well, that's exactly what Miranda thought she was doing. She thought she was doing the right thing when she gave birth to her little one. But you see, she gave birth all the way over in Sweden. And over there, they have different practices. Yeah, they don't swaddle their babies over there. And she didn't know that. See, one day the midwife came in to kind of check on her and her child, and her husband was there as well. And she explained that she was swaddling her baby because the lady asked her, "What are you doing?" And so she's kind of puzzled by this whole ordeal. And when Miranda starts to ask her husband, "What do you think that was about?" after the midwife leaves, he said, "Well, she said that you shouldn't do that anymore, that it could kill the baby." She said, "Yeah, we don't do that to babies in this country." I never quite thought about this before, but there are different practices in different places where you live. Okay, so in Sweden, they believe that it is not okay because it could increase the chance for your baby to develop SIDS. Yeah, the sudden infant death syndrome. And there are some studies out. Now, this particular study is not peer-reviewed that says if you swallow your child and lay them on their stomach, they have a higher chance of sudden death, which is awful. So that's the reason why they don't swaddle over there. But what are some other practices around the world? Well, I found this. Over in Sweden, it is completely acceptable to co-sleep with your child until they're of the age to go to school. And here in the US, that's really frowned upon. You don't want to roll over on your kid, that kind of thing, you know? And then over in the Scandinavian countries, which include Norway and Finland, Sweden, Faroe Islands, Denmark, and Åland Islands, well, over there, they make it a practice to leave their children out in the cold, in the freezing cold. Yeah. Here in America, that would be considered neglect. But, you know, different places, different climates, different cultures, and different practices. So just kind of bringing it to your attention. The swaddling is sometimes frowned upon, depending on where you are in the world. So Miranda got a little bit of a shock to the system. But she decided now she's not going to swaddle her baby anymore. And that's totally fine. You've got to do what you know to do is best for your child. You're given so much information, you make those choices, and it's your thing. Every now and then I come across something that really grabs my attention. I want to just turn it around and share it with you. So here's Tony Reeder. Now this guy, I found him over on TikTok, and he does like these daily walks in his local park. And while he's there, he gets his phone out and he shares a few thoughts. And I thought this was so good. I think you will too.
If we were going into battle tomorrow, I'd like to make a speech that could inspire you to run through a wall with me. But we're not. So, maybe, just maybe, I could inspire you to be more kind, more loving. Wouldn't that be great? A more peaceful way of living? Go out and be the blessing. God bless you. God blessed us. And here we are.
One of the coolest things about working at a radio station is I get to talk with you, and I get to take your requests. And guess what? Christina just called me up and said, "Hey, could you play a song for me?" I said, "Sure. What song would you like to hear?" She said, "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" by Lauren Daigle. I said, "Yep, I can do that for you." And here it is, Christina. Who knew there could be so much power in two little letters? N-O spells no. Okay, so you probably heard it said in many different ways. You probably even said it yourself, maybe to a coworker, maybe to your boss, ooh, maybe to your kids. That's my favorite way of doing it. You get creative with the kids, like, nope, no, diddy, no, no. And you can sing it, you can say it, but sometimes you just got to say it sternly. No, right? Hey, let's just practice it real quick. Let's say it very confidently. 1, 2, 3. No! Okay, now let's all say it very wimpily. 1, 2, 3. No. See, it depends on how you deliver it, on how well it will be received. Sometimes we get a little too, I don't know, liberal with the no. I understand that. But you know something? No could be exactly what you need to say to somebody this holiday season. I know it sounds negative, but I promise you it's not. Stick around. I'll tell you all the details why saying no is a good thing. Yeah. But first, let's get our Zach Williams on with a little Go Tell It on the Mountain. Makes me want to grunt. I thought of one more way that you can say no, and that's sarcastically. No. You ever had that one before? Might have gotten you in trouble. But on a more serious note, let's talk about the importance of no. So this doctor, Dr. Julian Givey, PhD and assistant professor at West Virginia University, said this in a media release. "I was once invited to an event that I absolutely did not want to attend, but I attended anyways because I was nervous that the person who invited me would be upset if I did not, and that appears to be a common experience." No duh, right? You don't have to have a PhD to think, hey, it's going to bother somebody if you turn down their invitation. But how much is it going to bother them? And see, that's what he concerned himself with. So, what happened? Well, the research shows, however, that the negative ramifications of saying no are much less severe than we expect. So a team with the American Psychological Association conducted 5 experiments involving more than 2,000 people. In one experiment, the researchers asked participants to read about a fictional scenario where they were either inviting or received an invitation from a friend to dinner on a Saturday night at a local restaurant, hosted by a celebrity chef. Let's say Gordon Ramsay. The participants receiving an invitation had to imagine themselves declining the invite because they already had plans that day and wanted to spend a night relaxing at home. Those who imagined giving the invitation had to think about their friend declining for the same reason. The researchers found that participants who imagined turning down their friend's invitation frequently believed it would immediately impact their relationship with that person in a negative way. These participants were much more likely to believe their friend would feel angry, disappointed, and would likely avoid inviting them to future events. However, the group receiving the rejection rated their disappointment to be at a much lower level. Yeah. Across our experiments, we consistently found that invitees overestimate the negative ramifications that arise in the eyes of inviters following an invitation decline. Wow. People tend to exaggerate the degree to which the person who is issued the invitation will focus on the act of the invitee declining the invitation, as opposed to the thoughts that passed through their head before they declined. So, saying no could actually be a good thing and not hurt their feelings as much as you think it will. In fact, I bet you most people are run ragged this time of the year, and your declining their invitation may actually be a sigh of relief for them, because hosting parties and events, having to clean the house, having to have things just so, and get everything just right, that's a lot of pressure. So don't feel bad for saying no. Just politely decline and move on. Sometimes our best yes is actually a no. I know it's weird, but you know it's right. Give it a try. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. The only thing is they take up too much room in my vehicle. I got a big, thick coat that I have to wear in the mornings, and then I got a very much thinner jacket that I get to wear in the afternoons. So it's weird though. Used to, you wouldn't catch me with sleeves on, but as I get older, I feel that coldness just a little too much these days. So anyway, I don't know about you, but I just take up too much room in the car. Right now across North Alabama, it's feeling okay. I'm in 42 right now in Huntsville, 43 in Boaz and Arab, and the warm spots, I guess, Coleman and Gunnersville, really sitting at 47 degrees. Tons of sunshine, blue sky. I hope you're having a great Wednesday so far. Hey, your word of life today comes to you from 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. Instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life. And if someone asks you about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it. That's good stuff right there. Hey, why don't you share that word of life with somebody and start that conversation. Start telling them the story about your hope as a believer by sharing this word of life. We've got it ready for you across all of our socials and at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. So today is the big day. Well, tonight is the big night. Christmas with Charles Billingsley, Union Chapel Church, tonight at 7 o'clock. And if you don't already have your tickets, which are absolutely free, you can go to our website right now, 885jfm.com. Click on that banner right there at the top of the page, and it'll take you to go get those tickets so you can have a good old time with Charles Billingsley tonight there at Union Chapel Church up in Union Grove. Things have really changed, haven't they? I remember when I was in school, if I wanted to look up what something meant, well, I actually had to look through a dictionary. I had to flip through the pages, and depending on which edition of the dictionary I had, it might or might not be in there, right? And then, don't get me started on encyclopedias. You had to have those if you wanted to know something specific. But these days, no, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is ask, your smart assistant, Siri, ask Google, ask Alexa. Sorry if I summoned one of your devices when I said their name, but you know what I mean. It's like these days, knowledge is just there. It's different from wisdom, of course, but knowledge, as far as knowing things, it's really easy. You just got to ask the question. So, I wonder if you know how Google got started. Yeah, well, it started all the way back in 1996 as a research project by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They were both PhD students at Stanford University in California. Okay? So, it started off as a research project and then officially launched in 1998, which means that Google is celebrating its 25th year in existence this year. And so they went ahead and put together a little list of all the things that have been Googled the most. You want to hear a few of them? The most searched people? Cristiano Ronaldo. He's the most searched athlete, of course, soccer player. Amazing. LeBron James, most searched MVP. Taylor Swift is the most searched songwriter. BTS is the most searched boy band. BTS beat out Backstreet, and they beat out NSYNC, and they beat out New Kids on the Block. I find that really hard to believe, but that's what they say. The Beatles was the most researched rock band. Ariel was the most searched fictional princess. As far as places go, which ones were high on the list of everybody on Google? The Eiffel Tower was the most searched landmark, followed by the Colosseum and Buckingham Palace. And then New York City was the most searched city, followed by London, Paris, Madrid, and Hong Kong. Most searched things? Well, soccer was the most searched sport. Barbie was the most searched toy. Air Jordan when it came to sneakers. Chinese cuisine when it came to food. Heart emoji when it came to emojis. The bob haircut was the most searched haircut. I'm so glad Bold didn't make that list. Minecraft was the most searched video game. The 1980s, the most searched decade. Beyonce's Coachella performance was the most searched performance. And finally, the most searched cartoon. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants made the list at the very top. Tom Kenny is very happy about that, I'm sure. He's the voice actor who gave SpongeBob his voice. And there are just a few of the items most searched across Google in its 25 years of life. And wow, it's really changed things, hasn't it? Every now and then, I think we need to be reminded of some basics, just some basic principles of life and about this journey that we're on as Christians, living in this world and being human. Because let's be honest, as we get older, we start feeling different, don't we? We're not nearly as energetic sometimes. Our bodies are sore and things just start to go downhill, it seems. And we can really let that affect us. But I came across this guy. His name is Peter Compton. He has a little something to say about this that he heard from another guy whose name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I want him to share it with you. He does it so well. Take a listen.
I think one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard says, "In order to be able to change, you need to think greater than you feel. Stop letting the way that you feel dictate the way that you think, because then it just creates this endless cycle that keeps you trapped in the exact same place. But if you can finally start thinking greater, eventually you will start to feel better to match."
Wow, what do you think about that? Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes, most of the time, I let the way I feel kind of dictate how I do things. Whether I feel energized or inspired to do something, or if I just don't want to do anything, I just want to sit there in my chair and watch TV. I just need to relax. And I mean, there's time for that, of course. You got to make time to relax, to recharge your batteries. But at the same time, hey, don't let yourself get stuck because you don't feel good. Well, yeah, we can push through and do it anyway, right? Sometimes that's exactly what it takes. And it's so funny because it's true. When you start doing the things, you start feeling better. And then it becomes a better cycle. Rather than that vicious cycle that paralyzes us and keeps us from doing things, all of a sudden we find that if we just go ahead and do it, it propels us on. I love that. But it's really hard to make that decision, to take that first step. But once you gain some momentum, it's a little bit easier. So I just wanted to let you know, you're not alone. We're all doing this thing together. I'm just so glad that we have each other to lean on and to learn from, you know? Thanks for being part of my community right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Hey, thanks so much for coming and checking out the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. You know, I do this inspiring quote every day. I like to start the show with it and end the show with it. I started it just fine this morning, but when it came time to finish it, I just simply didn't have time to do it on the air. So here we are. Thank you for being here. And here is your inspiring quote of the day. The pine stays green in winter, wisdom in hardship. That's from Norman Douglas. And you know, there's a lot to be said about those trees that stand in the middle of winter, and those trees that even stand in the middle of summer, and they're able to still thrive. We can gain a lot of wisdom here. Well, because we know that for us to thrive, our roots have to be grounded in Christ, in knowing who we are in Him and what God says about us. And then when it comes to these outside things, the way that we see the world, the way that we interact with the world, we have to be ready for whatever comes. You know, I love the way that the Bible spells this out. And there's this verse. It's over in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. It says, "Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all longsuffering and doctrine." I love that. Instant in season and out of season. How can we do that? Well, we have to be ready to face whatever comes, and we can be because we have the Holy Spirit with us. So let that speak to your heart today. In your world, you have to decide whether to be an evergreen that's ready to stand up against anything any time of the year, no matter what season it is, or you're going to be a deciduous tree. Yeah, you remember that term from way back in elementary school? Deciduous means to fall off. It's those trees that lose their leaves every winter. Yeah. It's one of those things. We have to be those evergreens and stand firm in our faith and be able to face whatever comes our way. And the reason why we can is simply because we're not alone. First, we have God on our side. We have the Holy Spirit on the inside of us. And second, we have each other to lean on. So thank you for being part of my community. All right, I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Okay? Thanks for checking out the podcast. Do me a favor, share it with as many people as possible. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Oh, and by the way, if you have any suggestions for me on how to improve the podcast, I am all ears. I really don't know what I'm doing on here. I just try to put together the breaks, put them up here, but I know there are ways I can make it better. So if you know of ways, please let me know. Email me, Stephen@885jfm.com. I know the question, is it a PH or a V? It's a V. So Stephen with a V at 885jfm.com. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much. See you back here tomorrow.